Welcome everybody. Our first look at the defending champ, Damien Furtado from Division 1 as he takes on Will McCarty. Will McCarty recorded this, so we're looking at his hand. A Dema Guildgate from Damien to start with. Now when somebody plays a Guildgate like that, you expect they're heavily involved in those colours because Watery Grave would normally be your first choice. But he's played a Dema Guildgate, which means he needs extra blue-black sources. And he's on Esper colours, and we know from his jaunts and standard that Damien is probably on Esper control. So I'm pretty interested in this match because it's a deck is one of my initial thoughts for playing at Standard Showdown this weekend. As for Will, it looks like he is on something new. We haven't seen any new cards out of Damien just yet, but Will, you can see the Hydroid Crassus, which we're going to have a look at later when he plays it, and Growth Spiral. Growth Spiral he can actually fire off. He could have fired it off there if he wanted to. But he looks like he's waiting for the appropriate land. We'll have a look at the Growth Spiral anyway. But it allows you to play an extra land and draw a card at instant speed. So an incredibly powerful common. And he's going to just go for it on the main phase anyway, but he doesn't hit the land. So these two little Saprolines are getting the work done for him at the moment, chipping away 2 points of damage at a time. I'm wondering, because Hydroid Crassus is all the rage. If you look at all the early deck lists that are coming out, here's Kaya's Wrath. So that's met with a negate, but that's one of the first new cards we see. So here's a second Growth Spiral and a Knight of Autumn. So there's lethal on board now with the counters. This time Kaya's Wrath works. Now Hydroid Crassus is actually has flash, so we'll see when that's going to come down. Multani from the previous set, it gets +1/+1 for each land you control, and enables you to return 2 lands and bring it back from the grave. So that's lethal on board right there. We'll see if Damien's got an answer. You can see another Multani in hand. He does. That's a third Kaya's Wrath. I'd be curious to know how many of those he's playing. Surely Damien's still got 7 cards in hand, so I was going to say surely he's running out of Scape. I'm not sure why Scape Shifters in standard. Like, I don't know what you'd be looking for from Will's side. So we're going to see a Settle the Wreckage here. There it is right there. Yeah, when he passes with 4 mana up, with lethal on board, that's the only thing that he can actually have. But Hydroid Crassus is going to be awesome with flash. Is he gonna? He's gonna bring it back. So he's just going for the mana efficiency here. Play it straight back. Still got lethal on board. So super powerful, this Multani. There's a Mortify that'll get the job done. He's going to main phase Hydroid Crassus. It looks like he's playing around with 6 counters on it, so he draws 2. Yeah, it looks like he was playing around a counter spell, but it looks like Damien's just loaded up with the creature removal here. Yeah, as I was sort of saying before, you look at all the early top 8 deck lists, and they from around the world, Hydroid Crassus is everywhere. It's about $35 now. Tatyova, which is kind of a staple in what's he doing here? So this is kind of functioning like a filter, I guess. This is a pretty cool idea what he's got going on here. I don't know where Will's got this deck from. We'll have to find out in the comments maybe. But yeah, pretty original idea. Some sort of a standard lands deck. Tatyova's a EDH staple. Never seen it in standard, but look at Damien sitting over there with four lands up against however many is on this side. The Reliquary Tower means that Will's got unlimited mana here. Multani's coming back for what must be the 15th time in this match, exaggerating, but yeah, he just keeps coming back. And he's going to get absorbed and negate. So we've seen 2 negates out of Will, and they've both been super timely. Lethal on board again. Look at Multani, 1919, because it counts the graveyard. That's what you want. Vraska's Contempt keeps you alive. Well, Will's certainly got no issues here with life. You can see he's got 35, plus he's got Gift of Paradise. But we've seen 3 Kaya's Wrath already from Damien, and Damien hadn't seen enough, so we're going to game 2 now. Damien's game there in game 1 severely stunted by his lack of lands. He was stuck on 4 forever. You've seen 2 Kaya's Wrath. I'd be willing to bet he, and a Settle the Wreckage, I'd be willing to bet he probably had Cleansing Nova as well. So this is the really cool thing with Growth Spear. He can actually get to Will can get to 4 mana on turn 3. So it's a ramp spell because you play it at the end of your second turn. Thief of Sanity, that was huge. Ixalan's Binding on Thief of Sanity. But we have seen from Damien that he's got Mortify, which can take down the Ixalan's Binding. It'd be interesting. You'd imagine that having what he's seen in the first game, he's probably going to have as many copies of Mortify as he can get his hands on in his main. There's a negate there though. Ixalan's Binding 2 more in hand, and Search for Iskanta. You don't really want the control player to be drawing too many, having too many Iskanta activations. And here's another new counter spell, Absorb. I mean, it's not new, it's a reprint, but we haven't seen it in standard before, in the modern era at least. And it's going to be a pretty big one to get. This guy we've seen plenty of times, Teferi. We'll see if there's... Yeah, no negates on... I wouldn't imagine that there'd be negates from Damien post-sideboard, having what we've seen in the first game. He could have had Syncopate. Syncopate would be huge against Multani. And a Mending of Dominaria. So the Crassus is down. And Iskanta flips, so... This is more towards what Damien wants to be doing. Iskanta finds Teferi. Down comes Teferi. And back comes Thief of Sanity. So 2 Ixalan's Bindings here are going to be brutal. No Teferi and no Thief of Sanity. That is nuts. And if he can get through this next turn, if Will can get through this next turn, I think he's got this match, because Damien needs a Mortify desperately. Oh, and just like that, he finds one off Iskanta. So which card does he get back? I think you get back the Teferi and bounce the Ixalan's Binding, which is exactly what he's going to do. So we're back to the board state we had before. But another card that Control does not like to see, Carnage Tyrant. And I should mention Carnage Tyrant with Negate backup. But Thief of Sanity going to go to work now. Now the issue here is, and this was huge for Damien in this match, is that Thief of Sanity is actually bugged on Xmage at the moment. So I don't know exactly what the bug is, but the deal with Thief of Sanity is that you look at the top 3 or 4, I think it's 4 cards, top 4 cards, and you pick one. It's basically Gonti on with flying and no death touch. And then you get to play their card, and you can pay any mana for it. Is there a Settle the Wreckage? No, there's not. Settle the Wreckage and Cleansing Nova are the only cards that can stop Carnage Tyrant in this deck. Yeah, so whatever the bug is, like they mentioned it in chat, but I wasn't sure exactly what the bug did. But it's going to severely disable Damien's plan if he can't actually cast the card that he gets from Thief of Sanity. Cast down is handy, but it'll take care of something in the future, but it's not going to take care of that Carnage Tyrant. Yeah, I play with Thief of Sanity quite a lot in Arena, and while its ability is good, I find it's too slow, chipping away 2 at a turn. It can't really be a win con. He's going to main phase in Iskanta. He must be looking for Teferi here. Finds Thought Erasure. What's he going to get? I think you got to take... Yeah, I was going to say you take the negate, so either way he gets a negate, but he misses out on the Surveil. Oh, Unmoored Ego, that's a big one. But with no backup this time. I think you want to try and bait that any counterspell first. So I'd be going for the Crassus here. Give up your Crassus. Although, no, he can't do that because you know he's got a cast down. So he'll let the Crassus probably resolve to use the cast down. He's got 3 in hand, so if there's an absorb over the other side, yeah, there it is there. It's going to eat it. I mean, I don't know his deck, so I don't know what his game plan is here. Will's game plan is, but I kind of feel that he, rather than resolving the escape shift, I would have resolved the Unmoored Ego, because he could have got one of the win conditions, let's say named Teferi. But as I say, I don't know what this land plan is, so I'm not 100% sure, because I think if he cast escape shift first, I think the escape shift would have got the negate, and then he would have been free to play the Unmoored Ego. Because as it stands with cards like Multani, I believe the Damien's got that well and truly covered. He's got plenty of removal on the other side. Unmoored Ego, I would have been tempted to either go Teferi or Settle the Wreckage, because with Carnage Tyrant in hand, I think I named Settle the Wreckage because Carnage Tyrant can take down Teferi. And once you take the Settle, there's no real answer to the Carnage Tyrant without giving up your own Thief of Sanity, which would be something like a Cleansing Nova or a Kaya's Wrath. Yeah, so they're experiencing the issue now where Damien, I'm reading the chat, Damien is trying to cast the card from Thief of Sanity. I would have to test this because there was an issue with Gonti where people believed it didn't work, because if you can see on the screen at the moment those cards that are covered up, with Gonti if you click those cards they were not working either. You had to click the exile zone, which is below your life total, and select the card from within the exile zone and cast it from there. So the Carnage Tyrant is down, we've got another Thief of Sanity. Yeah, so that might require a little bit of testing, I think. Here's a monster Crassus. And you can see he's doing it while the shields are down. He's going to draw a massive amount of cards from this. Look, that is insane. He's found a negate as well, but he doesn't have the blue mana to cast it at the moment. He left 2 whites up. Cast down will take down the Crassus, because that Crassus is actually lethal on board right there, just one of them. Because you can see Damien's at 14, five cards in hand, but we'll make that 7 now, or 6 with the precognitive perception. He's doing it main phase, so he's going to get some life. And here's Teferi again, so we're going to see a Ixalan's Binding on Teferi again, you'd imagine. Well, he's going to do it on a Thief of Sanity instead. I guess does he think he's got Teferi covered with the... Now, he can play Unmoored Ego here if he wants. I don't know. I don't like that play, playing out 2 Carnage Tyrants, especially when you saw 3 Kaya's Wrath in the first game, and you haven't seen any in this game. So you'd imagine that there it is right there, the Kaya's Wrath. I would have just played the 1 Carnage Tyrant, because you can see here he had the negate, but you're not going to want to counter war against control. Profane Procession is huge here, especially with the amount of mana Damien's got. That card is just going to take over the match. I don't know what happened there. So he played Knight and chose to destroy the Procession. In response, the Procession destroyed the Knight, but I believe the trigger should have still been on the stack, so that Profane Procession should be dead. if I'm understanding that situation correctly. Here's another Ascanta activation. Yeah, because when you got that much mana, you pay 5 with the procession to exile a creature. He's found another counterspell. This is starting to look pretty good when you got Teferi at 7. Here's a Twilight Prophet. And here comes a monster Crassus. But you can see he decided to leave up plenty of mana this time. Yeah, Teferi's at 7, so you got to kind of keep an eye on that. And a Carnage Tyrant, so he's walking into another Kaya's Wrath here. And when I say walking into, I mean you look at Damien's side of the board, and what he's going to give up is minimal. It's a Twilight Prophet. In exchange, he's going to get Carnage Tyrant, a Crassus, but he's fired off 2 removal spells, so he obviously doesn't have the removal. So if there is a, he's found a Thought Erasure. What's he going to take with that? What do you take here? I don't know if he cares about Unmore Ego at this stage of the match. I think he might take the Crassus. It's too late for Scapeshift. He's going to take, what did he take? Okay, he took Tatyova. Teferi goes to 8, so I don't think Teferi's ultimate is going to be the end of it here, because you can look at how many lands Teferi's ultimate can't get. Carnage Tyrant. What's he going to name? This is going to be interesting. It gets the counterspell. He knew about the counterspell because it was revealed from Ascanta. Let's see what he's going to name. Yeah, Settle the Wreckage, I like that. Gets one out the hand. Flashed that super quick so we couldn't really see what was in the hand. He doesn't care about Teferi, he's going for the win. So now Damien is on, he's going to search. He's on Wrath or Bust right here. He needs a Kaya's Wrath or it's game over. Gets Mortify, so that's going to do nothing. I missed what happened there. Oh, he took down the Mending of Dominaria, sorry about that. So we've got a Teferi ultimate and another Teferi. So he's going to start going to work, getting rid of these permanents. Back comes Thief of Sanity. He needs to find a Wrath right now. I think he did that out of sequence, because he's going to be chump blocking here. I think you meant to draw the card first. So he can quadruple block here a Carnage Tyrant, but he'd be dead. Is he just dead? Crassus is going to look... If Crassus finds a removal spell, then this one's over. It does find a removal spell, and so Will is going to take down Standard 2-0 against the defending champ. And so Damien starts his defense with a clean sweep loss in Standard.